Yes. Finally leveled the playing field. Never trust your sus. We define what's real. Shuffle shit, took losses. You know the deal. It was never an option to miss a meal. It was never an option to skip a bill. Got low, mindset of a Navy SEAL. Took my queen off the board. Now we move freely. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. I'm one half of the squad. Kash, a.k.a. Exec P. My man, Mr. Prez, couldn't be here. Thankfully, and Lord willing, he is safe in Florida. And, just a little power outage, but looks like he's up and running again. And he's moving into a new home. So that's why he couldn't make it today. But don't fear. We're back to doing our artist interviews, our independent artist interviews. And boy, do we have a good one today. We have Nito. First I've heard of Nito. It was probably about a year ago. Saw him popping up on Twitter. And he had a project called Tears in the Rain. And then I found out his age in between that. And, sometimes being an older cat, I do have a little bit of a bias. Like, what is this young man going to talk about? Or this young lady or whoever I'm listening to that's a lot younger. And boy, did this project blow me away. The timing wasn't quite right when I first heard that project to do an interview because it was long past when it had dropped in today's standards, maybe a couple months past. But I always said that, hey, man, I'm going to reach out to him or reach out to management and just see if we could smooth something over. And lo and behold, he drops 4DASOUL. And that's exactly what it touched my soul. So without further ado, man, from East Oakland, California, welcome to the podcast for the first time, Nito.
About that.
I take my songs and write to you. I take my wrongs and write to you. I take my songs and write to you. I take my word for you. Burn my energy.
Natural.
I tell myself that I'm living life to the fullest, but now I'm looking back and I'm knowing that I was.
What's going on, man?
Right here doing this interview. It's a pleasure to be talking with you. I know you hit me up I want to say year and a half or a year ago. And I was like, let's just wait.
Yep. I said if it wasn't a good time, I know how it go. You know what I mean? You want to catch it fresh off while everybody's eyes is on it. You know what I mean? So I was patient, man. But how does it feel, man? Project finally dropped. Took a little bit over a year and a half or so, something like that. A little bit. You know what I mean? How you feeling?
Feeling great. I mean, whenever you drop a project, you're a little nervous at the beginning, like right before you drop it. But it's been pretty good. The reception's been pretty solid. I love the way it turned out. Sometimes as artists, we be in our head about how the music sounds, but once it drops, it is what it is. And I'm really proud of what I did.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I sent it to several people just saying, hey, listen to this. I don't typically reach out to my homies unless it's something that I want to pass on to them. And, typically, you know how it go when you putting them on, you put the stamp on it. Like, hey, did you listen yet? You follow up because you want them to just see if they vibe out to it. And a few other producers that I know, friends and family, that's all in the music, they were not surprised, but they were just enamored with like just the live instrumentation feel. So just hats off to you. Just wanted to put that out there for you so you know that. So typically, man, I like to start off these interviews just to kind of get, kind of what's the goal? What's your purpose? What's your why for making rap music, man? Why do you do what you do?
Yeah. I mean, when I first started rapping, it was more just like a fun type of thing, rapping with the homies and just rapping by myself, to vent. But as time went on, I started using it as a way to express myself. And I wasn't doing nothing serious, just for fun, writing in my journal. I didn't tell anybody for a minute that I was rapping songs. And then, once I started getting pretty good at that, I felt like I had like a little purpose, like I found my niche and what to do in life, and I feel like hip hop is so beautiful, it allowed me to express myself in ways that I couldn't have in any other formats. Because I've always been a creative person, but hip hop is special because you use words and make metaphors out of whole albums and songs, and it'll really touch you and resonate with you. And I feel like that's something that no one could take away from hip hop, whether it be from the 90s or in the future. It's always going to be something real special. I mean, I just love it, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's pockets for everybody, man. Like, I'm listening to about 3 different projects this weekend. All 3 of them sound different. And, you know, it's fresh. And that's refreshing for me. You know, you got some trap, you got some stuff that's for the soul, you got some typical boom bap. And it all, you can go to hip hop for whatever mood you in. You necessarily don't have to leave that scope, so to speak, to get what you need in music. So definitely feel you on that, man. So, but I know you're being modest, man. You do more than just rap. You do more than just rap.
Yeah.
Can you let the people know a little bit of what you had your hands in and for the soul in developing projects thus far?
Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, I mean, when I started writing, I also started producing at the same time. So I've kind of grown along with that. But yeah, I've been producing, engineering, mixing, recording for, I want to say, about the whole time that I've been writing as well. I mean, it's a journey, you know, but at first my beats were whack, you know, everybody starts like that. My raps was whack, but over time you gain that edge, you know, you gain that sixth sense to, you know, make something special for you and to actually put it out. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to all my inspirations, because I wouldn't be here without them. Like Dre, Kanye, was in a Jay Dilla for sure. And just a lot of producers that I really look up to. And even though my music may not sound like that, because it's very like West influenced, like Dre, they still inspire me in different ways, whether it be activity or just the way they were able to vocalize themselves through the music and just the producing itself, because sometimes the beats speak for themselves.
How natural did production and mixing, and how did that come to you? Because, like, I mean, you're fairly young. I don't know if you want to tell your age, but I was blown away when I first heard it. But like, how do you start getting into doing all 3 of those things that are all time consuming and taxing and putting out an album? How do you just flawlessly like just navigate to those different things?
Yeah, well, I'm actually 20. I'm about to turn 21 in November. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard. It is a lot time consuming, making a project from scratch with yourself, because you don't really got no one in your corner, creative wise. But I feel like that makes the best music because you have your hand in everything. Like everything that goes on within the project is to your needs and how you want it. And because to be honest, I've had these songs written, I want to say 6 months ago, but I just never finalized them because it's a lot of work to mix, to record, to produce, everything. And it's really just a lot of work, as opposed, I probably could have pumped out this project, late last year, you know? But I think it's a privilege to be able to do what I do the way I want it to, because a lot of people don't have the patience to learn all these skills and all these ways to express yourselves. Because, you know, mixing is a whole art form in itself.
Yes, it is.
And I feel like if I can't express myself with the words itself, I can express myself with the way how things sound, or just with the production as well. So I feel like it's real special to me, and I feel like it's something that I'm really proud of. You know, I don't really flex it a lot because, like, you know, it's all about the music at the end of the day. But it's something I'm really proud of. You know.
Yeah, and for people like me that listen to all of those nuances of the music and just certain things, you know, a delay here or, you know, a little slight skip to the beat to just place emphasis on a certain word or a certain seem like the transitions and the beats and stuff like that. And we'll get into some of them songs that did that stuff well. You know, you hear that on Good Kid, Mad City. You'll hear that on. I mean, I'll just talk about some West Coast guys, Game, like just their ear production. Those rappers, Kendrick Lamar, Game, and several others on the West Coast. It's just like, it just sounds musical. It feels like home, man. It just doesn't feel like you're forcing a bunch of raps down my throat with pause, you know. But you know what I mean? Yeah. But you know, it just don't feel like you rapping at me. It feels like you're telling your story, whatever your story is. You know what I mean? So that's kind of dope, man. Speaking of just influences and production, what about on the rap side, on the rap tip? Like, who are some of your influences coming up?
Well, I first started rapping because I forgot this name's dude, but he was a battle rapper, and he would rap at high schools. And that's like when I first started rapping, because like, damn, that's the coolest shit, you know, growing up, talking shit, everybody roasting, you know, getting on their homies. That's the thing. And yeah, I started rapping because of that. And then I got into M and Dre and the whole Death Row label too, Pac. And after that, I got into Big L too. And he really helped me with my punchlines. Like, because back then I was a completely different rapper coming up compared to what I am now. Now I'm more of a storyteller. Back then I was more of a rapper, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say M, Big L, Nas, Jay for sure. Jay right now he's probably one of my favorite rappers right now, just because the longevity speaks for itself. And of course, Kendrick, Cole, Kanye from the production side, and Dre from the production side. But with just the rapping is just all the greats, you know. And of course, I got my favorites, E40, I'm forgetting. YG, even though people be hating on YG, but I fuck with YG, you know, because he's from the West and he really embodies the West. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of rappers from the West Coast, sometimes, I mean, they may be underground, but like for the mainstream ones, they don't really embody the West. And I really appreciate that from him. And I respect that a lot. And that's why he's one of my favorite rappers, you know?
Yeah, I definitely rocks with YG. Me and my boys, we always joke about it. Like, we got these different playlists and names for him. So in the South, whenever some shit is really knocking, you know, somebody will send over bando playlist, whatever. You know, it's just all underground Southern shit. And YG was on that, but on the West side of the things. And he hasn't really changed up too much. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. He still raps the way he raps. He's still super vulgar, still in your face. And it's a good pocket for me. I love to take his shit to the gym or on a Friday, Saturday, riding around. You know what I mean? When you really ain't trying to be in that moody, vibey type of mood. So yeah, I definitely feel you on the YG thing. But let's get back to the project, man, 4DASOUL, man. You know, I bring up your age, I bring up your production style, and I bring all that stuff up to say that, I mean, at your age, I don't expect typically to hear a lot of storytelling, a lot of you being very forward in how you're feeling. You spoke on a lot of deep issues that you have inside of you throughout the whole entire project. How do you navigate that, and why? Like, why do you go that route when everybody else isn't? Like, I've had several artists on here that about your age or a little bit younger. Joaquin the Divine comes to mind, where like y'all just not rapping about anything. Y'all rapping about things that matter to y'all and really focusing on the musicianship of it all, man. So what makes you do that in this era?
Yeah, I feel like it all comes down to how I start making music, because the way I start making songs, I make songs for me, you know, first and foremost. I make songs for me, something that I can express myself with, as opposed to some other artists that make songs for the public. And I feel like that's where it all starts, and that's why my music is what it is, because there are times where I make a song, even though it could be pretty good, I'm not putting it out, because that's for me, and I want to keep that for myself. And it's just me, a form of venting. That's why I feel like the music is the way it is, you know, because I don't make music to please other people. I make music for myself, and hopefully once I put it out, it'll resonate with people, because it's real shit that I'm talking about. And I feel like these human issues that everybody on earth have, they're really relatable, and I feel like that's why the music hits people the way it does. But coming back to the question, it's just about the way I start making music. Just make it for yourself, and I feel like that's the way most artists should really make music nowadays, because that's the most timeless shit that you can listen to and just making music that affects the soul. No pun intended. Just shit that makes you feel something, you know. Yeah. I feel like that's the type of music that could really be made. Yeah,
I was just discussing the album by Simba, Results Take Time, with DJ Drama, and I just kind of I fell asleep on Simba back in 2020. I think he released a lot of projects, but I just kind of 2020 I paid attention. Then he dropped with DJ Drama. Of course, you give Drama the respect, and that's one of the things that he talked about on the interview with Breakfast Club and several other places, was just when you make songs and things that people can feel it has a lot more legs. You may not stand out right away and have the big flashy single, but you have a longevity of a career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those are the people I
Perfect.
like the most. Now, when you're able to do a lot of different things and juggle the big song with the hooks, which you have on here, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's when you kind of finding your a good balance of musicianship, not just being a rapper. Because like you said earlier, you can spit punchlines, you could be a rapper's rapper, but sometimes those projects are not memorable. Sometimes, you know what I mean? When you're just rapping about a whole, unless you're just really an elite rapper. How do you feel on that and navigating that?
Wait, can you come again?
I said, how do you feel about just that? Like, just putting the music over just barring people's heads off.
Oh, all right, for sure. My fault. Nah, but I mean, it's just about what I value at the end of the day. Like you said, there's some people who could do both. Like Hove, he was able to do both. He was rapping about real shit and making hits at the same time, as opposed to, you could say, Nas, where he would just rap about real shit, you know? And then like Big L, he wasn't really rapping about deep shit, I wouldn't say, like Nas was, but he was rapping about punchlines. And like, it sucks that he was taken away from us so early. I wasn't even born, but it's a blessing to be able to hear his music. But he was more braggadocious, and I feel like that's what the youth is doing right now. I mean, I'm the youth, but you know what I mean. I feel like sometimes music could live on forever if it's that elite, but for the most part, if it doesn't touch you, it's probably going to get forgotten, you know? Like, let me talk about that Kendrick album. I forgot the name. Big Steppers.
Yeah.
There was a few songs that I really didn't rock with, you know, like it wasn't really touching me, but the few songs that did, like, I'm still listening to them and still have them on repeat because, you know, they speak to me. And I feel like that's the main thing with music, because like you said with Simba, he has a great thing about him. Like, he knows how to rap and like get all these punchlines, like on the freestyles. Y'all seen him, like he's going viral for this shit.
Crazy.
He's amazing, and it's cool because he's from the Bay. So
right. That's why I bring him up. You know what I mean? That's why I bring him up.
Yeah, like him, like he could rap about real shit and rap about punchlines too, and get you off your seat. That's what I love about him, and it's pretty cool to see him come up. I think he's pretty young too. I don't know his exact age, but he's pretty young, so that's pretty tight to see.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I spent a lot of time in the Bay, man, and when I was there not a couple years ago, it's probably over. Damn, I'm old, dating myself. Probably about 15, 16 years ago, when I last lived in the Bay for about 3 years. So I spent a little bit of time. I went to Oakland. I've told my Oakland story on this podcast before, where I'm from Brooklyn. You know, every hood is not the same. So you just can't roll up to Oakland thinking in another neighborhood in certain colors. So it was a bad decision we made, but that's neither here nor there. I
gotta tap into that later for sure.
But so I do want to get to some of the songs and stuff like that, because you did talk about like a lot of personal stuff in here, and I'm like, damn, well, you know what are you going through? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to where you able to give off like that. I like that type of energy, you know what I mean? Because it sticks with me. So on one of my favorite songs on there was is Who Am I? And you got a line on the hook where you just say, "Will I die lonely?" What is triggering that type of emotion? What is triggering that type of emotion in the hook? Because
I mean, damn, life is hard. You feel me? Like, it's just tough out here. You feel me? I mean, when I wrote that song, Who Am I? It was really like paying homage to all the homies, cause like I wrote it during a time where I cut everybody off, cause you know when you're in that mode, sometimes you're not feeling it, you don't want to talk to nobody, and that's how I was at the point when I wrote that song. And I was just going through a tough time, you know, like I wasn't social at all. I was just in my head about everything, you know, and sometimes the toughest battles are the ones within, you know, and that's what I was just going through, just dealing with myself, you know, the way life came out to be. Maybe I'm not successful. You don't even know about the future, because it's crazy, because I have like this thing. I don't know if there's a specific term for it, but it's like I tend to think about the future a lot and about shit. It's just crazy. Like I can't fathom certain things, like, you know, like not to get too deep or like weird about it. Like, you know, like the universe is crazy, like to even comprehend that and shit like that, and just daily shit, like how your life could be taken in a moment off some dumb shit, or just taking a moment just because somebody made a wrong turn and now you're in the middle, you're in the crossroads. And I feel like I battle with that. And then just, of course, issues, you know, like on a surface level with people around me. But yeah, all that would just be beginning to build up. And I had to vent and get on that. And like on I think it's the last verse or the second to last verse, I talk about I grew up with you, knew the shit that you've been through. And ever since you was fighting demons, I was the one to pinch you, like to wake you up from that nightmare. And I feel like that's what I needed in the moment, but nobody was giving me that relief. But to be fair, like I wasn't giving nobody a hint that I was going through these things. And that's on me. And it's crazy how things happen to be. Some people kill themselves over this shit. You feel me?
Yeah.
And luckily I was able to get past it. Doing much better now. But yeah, tough times throughout all this album, you know.
Right, and I could hear it, man, because, like, again, man, like you said, man, sometimes we all internalize our feeling like, yo, why doesn't this person that I care about or I think cares about me as much as I care about them, why are they not seeing that I've become a recluse? Why are they not seeing that, you know, I'm not going out as much or whatever is going on? And then, you know, they just kind of keep going on with life. And when you come around, you come around. And then you kind of realize, like, damn, man, they're not when you come to, you know, if you come out of that as the person that's feeling that way, you kind of think like, damn, I do have to speak to people. I do have to tell them the things that I'm going through to allow them to either not give a shit or care. You know what I mean? People may surprise you, but, you know, sometimes when you going through it, like it, you know, you just typically just shut everything off and the worst things come to light instead of just, you know, really opening up a little bit, you know what I mean? So it's tough. It's tough as well, man.
And that's the bad thing about being human, you know? You feel me?
Right.
I don't know about any other creature that got to go through this shit because, you know, humans are pretty smart and shit. That's just human nature, you know? You're going to go through it every once in a while, and that's just, hopefully you get out of it, you know?
Yeah. In my younger years was the same with me. I internalized a lot, you know, but now, man, I'm just getting older and I just don't care. If I'm feeling some type of way, I say it. And if you don't want to be cool with me as a result of how I'm feeling, or like everything ain't a game with me no more. Like I don't let shit slide. Like I've lost a lot of friends by like if you, you know, if you're a certain type of way, or if you're not a real friend to me and I've been a real friend to you over the course of the years, and you know, you just come around when you need something, and then not necessarily needing anything in terms of money. It's just needing anything in terms of time, my advice, or whatever the case may be. If I pick up the phone for you anytime, I expect you to check up on me. That's how my kids are doing. That's how I'm doing. You know what I mean? Just don't come around when you need something. You know, that's how it go with me. But hey, man, this ain't about me. This is about you, man. On to the next song, Pray. You know, tell me a little bit about you have a line on there where you're talking about in a split second or embracing the bullshit, but then we were talking about tough times on Who Am I, like to where in this instant to where you could be this cool, calm, collected person as you seem, but when you in the middle of some shit with your homies ain't necessarily the same way as you, things could change in a blink of an eye. At least that's what I got from it. What were you trying to convey in that song?
I mean, the outro to that song, I was just talking about, like, fuck it. Like, cause you know, like, there comes a time where you're like built up with all this shit. And then sometimes you're like you said, like, but you've got it through wisdom. Like you grow and you learn about this shit and how to be and how to move. But like sometimes when you have it built up, you just let it out and you're like, fuck this. I'm done with everybody. Fuck that. Sometimes I'll be embracing the bullshit. Sometimes you get, like, let me give you an example. Like, it's like sometimes you could be, like you said, cool, calm, and collected. But sometimes, let's say you got anger issues, or let's say you got certain feelings, and you're like, fuck it. I'm not holding nothing back. I'm going to just let it all out. I'm tired of holding it in. I got to tell you how I feel. And if you don't fuck with me, you don't fuck with me. Embracing the bullshit. The bullshit, quote unquote, is the shit that people don't like about me. You know, and that's why I wanted to end the song on a note like that, because the first half of the song is really talking about how, like, I've been internalizing these thoughts and the consequences and the shit that I've done to as a result of them. And the second half is really just fuck that. Like, I forgot the line. It said something, touch the fam and I'll shoot you. I didn't say something like that, but it's like the meaning, I guess, like metaphorically. Cause like, you know, sometimes you just not with that bullshit. You know, sometimes you're not in the mood to fuck around. Like your patience is very thin, and that's just how it is. That's the way I want. That's the meaning I wanted to portray. I mean, to give to that song, because it's a tough song for me to listen to too. Because I've been getting a lot of feedback. They've been saying, "Oh, that's the best song on the album." They fuck with it, probably because it's so real. I mean, I don't really see it because when I wrote this song, it was like a one and done. Like it's hard to relive those moments, and I relive those moments when I listen to the song again. So it's kind of tough. But it's a good song. I can't deny that, you know.
Scars don't reveal my pain. I seal my fate when I make mistakes, but God knows I regret it when I take this lane. I done paid my dues, I done dug my grave, yet stare death in the eyes and ain't been the same. So I pray to God I don't get pushed to the edge. Pray to God hoping I don't take the wrong step. Pray to God hoping I don't see no death. Pray to God I don't see no more stress, no more stress, no more stress.
Yo,
But sometimes,
boy, it's a bounce. And that's the thing, like, and that's why I say what you did so well on here is like, even when you talk about deep shit, it still got a nice bounce to it. And it's like, but you're rapping about real ass shit that you're going through. So it's kind of like, all right, I'm vibing with it, but like, God damn, like, it's like, you know, line after line after line coming at you. And you like, you know, okay. And then, you know, it switches too. You know what I mean? Do a seamless transition to the beat switches. So,
yeah,
that is a dope theme throughout the entire project. There's several songs that you did a transition, and that shit is difficult to do. Like sometimes people be fucking it up, but you didn't fuck it up, man. Like, so how did you work that in, man? How long did that take to kind of just find the perfect tempo to switch into? Because I know that doesn't just happen like I know I see people with videos online, they be like, yeah, I made this in 5 minutes, but that don't look. If it happened in 5 minutes, I'm gonna be a little bit upset because you're that talented. But like, how does that happen to where you just like decide like, all right, man, I'm gonna keep going, or this dictates a mood switch in the entire song?
Yeah. So the thing is with those beat switches that I have on the album is because these are independent songs. But what I noticed about these verses that happen on the beat switch is that they correlate with a lot of other songs. So I'm like, damn, I could put this together, and I ended up putting it together, and it did not take 5 minutes. Fuck no, it took a minute, and so I had the first half. I originally did the first half, and I was like, damn, it kind of ends like it's missing something. It's missing that really that punch, and I was like, I got to do something. So I started looking through samples and shit, and I found some shit that I finally liked, and I got my homie Xavier to play bass on it and saxophone, and it really just elevated it, and because originally I had the beat switch and me rapping right away, but then I was like, nah, it don't feel right. So what I did, I was like, I'm gonna let it breathe. I'm gonna let the beat rock. I think it's about 4 or 8 bars that it lets you absorb the beat before you taking the new words or the new message that I'm gonna give you. And I think that's a good thing that I do along this album, because even though there's a lot of beat switches, there's a lot of times where I let you absorb the information that I give you. And I feel like that's how music should be, because, you know, you can't be throwing shit in your face all the time and expect them to take it in. You got to let it breathe, let them think about what you just said to get them ready for the next thing you about to say. And I feel like that's something that, even though like when you're in the studio, you might not think about it, it's just something mentally you got to prepare people for. And I feel like that's what made the switch up so great. I'm happy the way it came out for sure.
All right. I want to double back to a question I asked when I was talking about production, and I want to stay in the production lane a little bit just so I can get the producer nerd thing off and those questions off. So with the production, I said it sounded like a lot of live instrumentation, and you just mentioned your man playing bass. Like how do you just learn this thing? You know what I mean? To be able to include that and kind of pull it off really, really good.
Yeah. Shit. Well, my first, time I absorbed live instrumentation on a rap record was T-Pap by Kendrick. And I was like, damn, this shit can actually work. Because, you know, back then, like before, I mean, I don't know. I'm not too informed. I haven't listened to every album that ever came out. But before that, no one really was doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel
Yeah,
like
your era, yeah, definitely the guys that came up in your era, like you know, a lot of Just Blaze, like they incorporate, you know, they do the sampling, but they also incorporate live instrumentation as well.
Yeah.
But I noticed, I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, is this all like live instrumentation, or is it just like you pulling from different places and some of it is a little bit of live instrumentation? So I just wanted to ask, just because I was curious.
Yeah. It's actually a fusion because I get these samples and they're like the bass thing, right? But to me, nothing's ever complete until I touch it. You feel me? Well, for my shit, I always get the homies to play whatever they got. I got Kala on production. I'll take mine, and on that specific joint, like I said, my homie Xavier he plays bass and sax. And then I think I got keys. I forgot on which one. My homie Adrian Brody, that's his name. He played bass on Pray the first half. Electronically, it was a synth, but yeah. I mean, it's a fusion because I feel like I've learned this from Kanye and just Jay Dilla. Samples are not one and done. You feel me? You can't just, not that you can't, but if you really want to complicate things and really get deep into the creative process of sampling, you got to get multiple samples and mesh them together. You know, like with Speak Your Mind, that first half is, I want to say 1, 2, 4 samples in there. I got the singers, I got the piano, I got some, you can't even hear it, but it's like a vocal thing in the back. And 4DASOUL, that's a sample, but, you know, like I said, instrumentation from the homie Proud About Chipotle. He added hella shit. And because sometimes when you collab with other producers, you know it's missing something. And sometimes you could direct them to it, but sometimes they give that little spice that you may not get from yourself because they're listening to it. You got to think about it. They're listening to the song.
Yeah, you too consumed in it.
Exactly. They're listening to it for the first time, you know? So they hear things that you don't while you've been listening to it on loop. And I feel like it's pretty cool to mesh with samples and stuff. I mean, this whole project, I want to say every song had a sample. Well, they didn't, you know, for my legal fellas. There was no samples in this project. But
no. I wasn't doing no sample snitching at all. Speak your. I can't even. You already snitched on yourself. But but no. Speak Your Mind is like one of the ones where I hear it immediately. But it's done. It's dope. It's dope. So you know what I mean. So I was like, damn, I know what sample that is. But you know, I like how you flipped it, you know what I mean, and kept it fresh, new, and funky, you know what I mean? But on the production nerd side, man, what are you using as far as software, hardware? What are you using to just kind of, you know, your workflow?
Yeah, so to produce, I use a lot FL Studio, sometimes Ableton, but it's not really my thing. Only for samples, because I know they have a lot of great features on there. But yeah, FL Studio mainly. I mean, people shit on FL Studio sometimes because supposedly it's too simple. But I love it. Shit, I came up in it. So I'm never going to leave that. You know, like I know like the back of my hand. You could ask me anything about FL. I'll tell you, buddy. For the most part. I'm not, you know, like a technician or nothing. But, you know, like on the creative side of things, and I'll do it for you. But it just feels like another, an extension of me, you know, because it's so simple to navigate throughout all the years of doing it. I want to say about 5-6 years I've been using FL. And it's just so natural to me. It's like, I don't even got to think about it. You know, lately I've been trying to get into playing instruments and that's just hard. That shit is hard. I mean,
I gave that up, man. I gave that up. I had a subscription to Melodics and said, I'm going to learn the keys. And I canceled that shit so quickly. Like I was like, I ain't got time for this shit, man.
Keys. I mean, I'm pretty on my own keys. I can't play it like I'm Mozart or some shit.
One finger in it. Yeah.
But, I'll click it in. You feel me? I know a little music theory. That's, I mean, really, if you are on a laptop producing, that's really all you got to know. You know, at the end of the day, it's just about feeling. It ain't about how many chords you can put together. If it sounds tight, it sounds tight, you know? And I feel like that's something I learned with producing. Because I know for sure there's a lot of producers that are more skilled in music theory. But at the end of the day, if it ain't got the soul, then it ain't got the soul. You know?
Don't jam it. It got to jam at the end of the day, man. You could do all of this. Like that's sometimes, you know, some certain producers, they get so technical and in the weeds with things. It's just like, yo, just put out the music and let it jam. And if a rapper like it and they kill it, then that's really all you should be concerned with, because you're laying the canvas down, but you can't, you know, just get so in the weeds with everything and never really put shit out.
Yeah.
So all right. So I stopped you there. So FL's FL, and you're trying to play a little bit of the keys, and all right, got you. So damn, so damn, I've heard a lot of different joints come out of FL. I've heard trap heavy stuff, soul samples. Now your music, like, so I don't use it per se because that's just another thing I got to learn. I come from Logic and just getting on this MPC. So, but yeah, man, still. At the end of the day, man, what comes out dope is dope, man. So, but last song I want to talk about is "Speak Your Mind" and just and the features as well. I want to get to some of the features and stuff like that because your last project, you didn't even have any features on there, and this time you kind of opened up and work with more people, more producers, and it's more of a you still the mastermind behind everything, but you included some people. Why you do that this time around?
Yeah, so the main difference is because it's my first project. I wanted it to be special to me, unique to me. So, like, selfishly speaking, I didn't want nobody else's voice to be on that project. So, that was really the main reason. I just wanted it to be all me because I feel like that's really the special thing about it because no one's really fucking with your vision. And every word that you wrote down and that comes out of the speakers when you play that first album is all me, 100%. And I feel like taking another route with the second album because I was like, all right, I'm established. I set my foot in the door. People know about me. Well, not publicly speaking, but I'm saying people know about if they hear my music. They know about the first album. They know where I come from. They know what I'm about, And so I was like, shit, let's talented people, amazing people. Because a lot of people, they like collab with, how do you say it? Whatever benefits them the most. And I'm not really like that, like I got to connect with you. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, music is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be, something that you like doing. You don't want to do something just because it's you could get monetary gain from it or just publicly, fan base speaking. So I just love collabing. Mid-Pack, Nim, I got J-Wall. J-Wall actually connected him. I got connected to him by it was an interview, local newspaper, East Bay Express. My homie Alan Cesaro, he put me on. We got connected. We did the interview together. We linked up. Exchanged numbers, and he sent the verse, and that shit he killed it. I feel like sometimes features could give another voice and more life to your project than you could think of. Because think about it. They're listening to the song, they're hearing what you're saying, and it sparks a whole nother idea in them. And I think that's pretty beautiful when it comes to music, It's crazy. Mid-Pack 2, he bodied that.
Yeah, he bodied. Yeah,
I want to give a moment to shout him out. He bodied that shit. I ain't gonna lie. When I heard it, when he sent it back, I was like, fuck. I was like,
because he did it. He came in on the beat switch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came in on the beat switch and smoked it. I was like, yo, wait a minute. Who's this?
Gotta tell y'all something. Yeah. Battling depression got me stressing about some real shit. I've been losing leverage by obsessing with the kill switch. Looking at my message, I confess it, feeling ill, yeah. I just hope my message is compelling to the millions. Cause the weapon spreading, coalescing by the children. Dying for they setting, it's upsetting when they drill them. Regiment suppressing, thinking less of my civilians. Lost a couple brethren, I ain't blessed. Could you feel this pain? Could you feel my rage and the guilt? My veins tend to kill and strain.
You know what I mean? Because I think all your features had a good proper place. Of course, Dende, am I saying it right? Dende on
Dende for sure. Yeah.
I take my so yeah. But yeah, I think he did a wonderful job on the hook. Or you guys both kind of seemed like you were playing on the hook, but yeah, the mid-pack for sure stood out to me, and I remember like kind of looking like every time I look and like, okay, let me see what else this person has. That's a feature. Yeah, that's a good thing because in all honesty, you put me on every feature. I've never heard their music before, so if they have music out, I went and followed the latest drop that they have and see, if I rock with it. You know what I mean? So, that's the benefit to you putting your people on, the people you generally rock with, because they're gonna do a great job. You know what I mean? And it's not for a look.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I feel like that's like one of the other goals that I wanted to have, because some of these people on the album, like knowing our fan bases are kind of separate, you know, like they don't really know each other, or not fan base. I want to say listeners. Yeah, like I don't really know, I'm not really connected with Mid-Pack's people, but you know his listeners are gonna be able to listen to my shit and be like, damn, you know, he's pretty cool too. And that's also what I wanted to do, because I know there's a lot of people that I'm around and people that listen to me that don't know about Nim, J Walt, Nim Sense, Dande, Gold. They don't know about them. And I feel like, and there's been people hitting them up like, damn, you put me on Mid-Pack. Like, so I'm really proud of that, because, and he hit me up the other day. He was like, damn, it's special, because, you know, when that song came in, he was going through like a tough time and shit. And then he really bodied it. And it's kind of like a beam of light to him, you know?
mm-hmm.
And I really appreciate that the music was able to connect with him that much, just from an artist standpoint, a human level. You know, it's amazing how music could bring people together. I really fuck with that. And yeah, it's crazy. I'm really excited for what he got in store in the future. I'm really rooting for him. That's the homie, and I'm really excited for sure.
Yeah, man. That reminds me like of I don't know if it was Just Blaze or Guru. They was telling a story about when Scarface came into the studio, and it was like during the Dynasty album when Jay Beans and Scarface was on one song, and Scarface had just got a call about, you know, something happening, and you'll hear it on This Can't Be Life, the song, to where, you know, got in the studio with Jig, and then he just went on to tell a story about what just literally just happened on the phone call. One of his mans losing his kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and he just chose that song to get off and let that off. So I think music, and I think you can agree, is just a huge vehicle for you just to release all of the demons or whatever inside. Not even demons, just things that are inside of you, so that you don't take your life, so that you don't do something crazy. So that, you know, like you said earlier, you used to journal, but this is your journal with a beat to it.
Yeah.
You know, that's
exactly.
the only difference.
Yeah.
The only difference, man. But you know, man, before I let you out of here, man, I got a few more questions, and then I'll let you out of here, man. So
for sure,
what's next for the team, man? I want to do a special shout out to Ruben, man. He been holding it down, and he connected us, and but I think I reached out before I met Ruben, just because I like the music, but he you know, reconnected us, and like, oh yeah, definitely I want to interview him. So shout out to him and everything he does for, you know, a lot of different artists, and just really showcasing their talent for free. You know what I mean? So that's dope with him, man. So what's next for you guys and the Selective team, and what you guys got coming up next, if you can even speak to that?
For sure. Well, damn. A lot more music. First and foremost, we just getting started, to be honest. We made Selective Music a few months before I dropped my project, and with the goal of trying to push everything out. Me and Breon, Ryan, Ruben, we're all working, trying to push this whole music thing out, trying to make it work for sure. From a management standpoint, we're trying to grow Selective Music, and just artists, me and Breon, for sure. A lot more music. Like I said, the train's it barely started moving. Like I said, this album is really the beginning of a whole plan that I've been scheming and writing down, just planning. Like, hopefully, not jinxing it, but I want to drop a song every month or so, or every 2 months, just to keep momentum flowing. Because like the way this album's being received, it's amazing, and I don't want to lose that like I did with the first album. Because the first album I had a lot of listeners, not a lot of listeners, but the folks that I had listening, I lost them. You know, because, you know, like when you don't drop, you know, for the consumer, they finna forget about it. You know, for the most part.
True. Or collaborations too, like, you know, open up to collaborations as well, to keep your name out there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I want to say 10 features probably before I dropped my album, in between my first album. And I already got 10 more lined up, you know? That's the way I'm always moving, because the way I see things, we're always going to be pushing forward. Always got to be in go mode, because you can never be complacent. You can never be satisfied. Well, that's the way I see it. That's the way I see the way I live, the way I want to succeed. You know, I want to grow this whole thing. I want to put Oakland back in the mainstream. It's been a minute since we've been on. And I think it's time
Bay
to...
got a lot of things going for them. You got LaRussell right now. Simba just dropped the heater. LaRussell's doing his thing, like just full circle with social media, how he's promoting, doing shit in his backyard. Yourself, you know what I mean? Like you're being well received as well. So like I think the Bay got Bay got something to say, and it isn't your typical Bay Area sound. You know what I mean? Y'all just making good music. It has nothing to do with, you know, y'all adding y'all twist to it, but it's just a good sound. So I'm encouraged, man.
Thank you. Now, I'm really excited for the Bay. Like you said, we got Simba and a few other cats. They just doing their thing, and I feel like it's real something special about to pop off. And I think it's gonna happen. If not within the next 2-3 years, I think for sure within the next 5. And I think we're really gonna have something to say for sure.
Sure. Hey, well, Nito, man, look, if there's anything that I could do behind the scenes or interview-wise, if you got anything that you need, man, feel free to hit me up directly. Feel free to hit up the podcast or whatever the case may be. If you have a single dropping or whatever, we can make mention of it. It's nothing for us to do that. It takes no time off of our, you know, busy schedules to listen to a dope song. You know what I mean? We always here for that. You know what I mean? We like fans who crack for the music, man. If it's dope music, we want to listen to it and put other people on, man. So, if I could be of any, you know, help, that's where it'd definitely be, and a bunch of other things behind the scenes. So feel free to reach out, you know, with anything you need, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, this episode, I'll let you have one last word before I close out.
Oh, okay. I just want to shout out. I want to shout you out. You the homie. This probably, I ain't gonna lie. No offense to any other interviewers, but I want to say this is probably my favorite one. I ain't gonna lie. The shit we talked about was pretty cool. You went really in depth, and I love it. Shout out to the No Sleep podcast, right?
Don't Sleep on the Couch. Sure. Yeah. We got a bunch of names. Yeah. But Don't Sleep on the Couch. But I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, it's been a pleasure talking to you, being able to say what I got to say. More blessings to the podcast, the whole organization. I'm really excited for what we got in store for y'all. But yeah, thank you for your time for sure.
Absolutely. Hey, y'all, this is episode 180. Y'all go check out Nito's new album, 4DASOUL, 10 tracks, 39 minutes. You will have it on repeat. This is just something you could just chill out and vibe to, man. Get to know the young man. He is doing his thing out here, and he just barely tapping into his potential right now. Like this, get it on the ground floor. Don't be late to the party. Don't be late to the party. I'm Kash, one half of the Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. Shout out to my man Prez, and praying for y'all safety, man. And congratulations again, my brother, on the house. Nito, congratulations on the album, man. And we out.
Wanted the people to fuck with me so they could say goodnight. And I wanted the opportunity to do this shit until it came, and I said, if I take my chance today, I promise I will never change. If I take my chance today, I promise I will never change. Growing up idolizing the hood delinquents, looking up to them as a youngin', that shit I seen fit. Hood of rich players and ballers, that shit was crazy. Riding around in they Impalas to an amazement. I gazed and praised their ways, I didn't know better. I just wanted to be like them and get my cheddar.
Yes. Finally leveled the playing field. Never trust your sus. We define what's real. Shuffle shit, took losses. You know the deal. It was never an option to miss a meal. It was never an option to skip a bill. Got low, mindset of a Navy SEAL. Took my queen off the board, now we move free.